Pirates, Opium, and Good Neighbors, how Solovyov justifies the current war by rewriting the history of Britain and Europe. Russia-India as a geopolitical showcase, what Russian TV wants to show the world. In the latest episode of the program Big Game, the hosts draw viewers' attention to the Russia-India Economic Forum, currently underway in New Delhi and chaired by Vladimir Putin and Narendra Modi. Formally, the discussion focuses on economics, trade, investment and cooperation within BRICS and the SCO. But in reality, this narrative plays a different role. Russian viewers are shown the image of a strategic pivot to the global south and are shown that Moscow is supposedly not experiencing international isolation. 1. Trade as a political argument. The key figure, repeated repeatedly throughout the program, is the goal of increasing trade between the two countries to $100 billion within 4 years. For Russian federal channels, this figure is more than just an economic indicator. It serves as proof that 1. Moscow is finding an alternative to Western markets. 2. Sanctions are not paralyzing the Russian economy. 3. India is ready to structure a long-term relationship with Russia, regardless of US pressure. At the same time, the program itself does not discuss the subtleties of India's position. Questions about trade structure, energy dependence, payment issues, or India's extreme caution regarding sanctions are absent. The partnership is presented in an extremely idealized form. For European readers, it is important to understand Russia is thus trying to create the impression that its reorientation to the East is not a forced measure, but a strategic choice that brings immediate success. Watch all episodes of The Great Game on Channel One's website. The Russia-India Economic Forum is currently underway in New Delhi, chaired by the two countries' leaders, Narendra Modi and Vladimir Putin. Representatives of the business community are speaking, as are, of course, the heads of all economic ministries in Russia and India. The goal, in general, is both simple and ambitious: to increase our trade turnover to $100 billion over the next 4 years. This goal is likely achievable, and of course we need to strengthen our partnership within international and multilateral structures, such as BRICS and the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and establish appropriate political interaction. This is what Putin said about this today during his official visit to India. Let's listen. The fundamental principles of international law enshrined in the Charter of the United Nations, calculating the right of each country to its own path of development and preserving its cultural and civilizational identity, respect for sovereignty, and a balanced balance of interests for all members of the global community. As founding members of BRICS, Russia and India have done and continue to do much to enhance the organization's authority. 2. The rhetoric of multipolarity as the basis of a new narrative. The key point of the passage is Putin's quote, "Respect for sovereignty, the right of each country to its own path of development, cultural and civilizational identity, a balanced balance of interests." For Western audiences, this set of phrases sounds like familiar diplomatic lexicon. However, in the Russian media context, it serves a different function. These concepts are used as a justification for Russian foreign policy, including the war in Ukraine, a critique of the Western model of international law accused of hegemony, an ideological basis for cooperation within BRICS, where Russia seeks an alternative international order, less based on rules and more on the sovereign desires of states. Thus, the program conveys the key thesis: Russia and India are supposedly promoting a fair alternative to the Western approach, and BRICS is becoming the main institution of this alternative. 3. India's symbolic function in the Russian media space. It is significant that the hosts of the Great Game focus not on the content of forums and negotiations, but on symbols, high-profile meetings, quotes and ceremony. India plays three roles in this construct. 1. Confirmation that Russia is not isolated, a crucial element of domestic propaganda. 2. A bridge to legitimacy for the global South. Moscow demonstrates that major countries outside the West listen to it. 3. Contrast with Europe. The comparison is implied but not stated. While the EU is reducing contacts with Russia, India is expanding them. However, Russian TV fails to mention that Indian policy is built on strict pragmatism. New Delhi avoids drastic steps, balances between the US, EU, Russia and China, and its support for Moscow is strictly limited by national interests. 4. How is this presented to Russian viewers? The purpose of the program segment is to create a coherent and attractive image. Russia is a global player, respected by the largest Asian powers. India is almost an ally, strengthening Moscow's political and economic stability. A new world order is already taking shape, and it's supposedly favorable to Russia. The West, on the contrary, is portrayed as losing influence and becoming increasingly isolated. This is a mirror projection of reality, intended primarily for domestic consumption, but also designed to influence an international audience through confidence. Think, analyze, draw conclusions, and don't be fooled. This was the program Empire of Lies.